let's get into everyone's favorite muscle group, which are the legs. If you could train them every day, you definitely would. I'm only joking, calm down. But it's an essential part of our physique, so we have to train them if you want your physique to look as aesthetic as possible. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Emir Potore. I make fitness, gym related content. And I've started this series where I pick my top 5 exercises for each muscle group. And for this video, I'll be picking my top 5 leg exercises. So let's get into my top 5 leg exercises. And this doesn't include any calf exercises. I might make a separate video for that. But yeah, this is for legs, quads, hamstrings. So yes, let's get into it. So starting off with the first exercise, which is squats. Now, I assume everyone knows what squats are. It's the most common and main exercise you should be doing for your legs. Now, if you want well-developed legs, you shouldn't be skipping these. As difficult as they may be, and as annoying as it may be to train legs and do squats, you have to do these if you want well-developed legs. But instead of doing regular squats, what I like to do nowadays is I like to have my heels a bit elevated while doing them. So whether I'm doing squats on a barbell rack or if I'm using a Smith machine, I like to have plates under my heels, so that elevates my heel to basically target my quads more than my glutes. And I know some gyms, they have like ready-made platforms or like a little elevated padding you can add under your heel, but most gyms don't have that, so you can add a small 2.5 kg or just any small plate under each heel, or just one big plate, depending if you want a narrow stance. So with the squats, I've been doing that lately. So yes, if you want to target more of your quads while doing squats, you can elevate your heel and more of the weight goes to your quads. I know a lot of people that when they want to target their quads, they tend to put the barbell on their shoulders, so in front. That is a good way to target more of your quads, but the thing is then your shoulders or your form kind of gives out before your legs are actually tired. And another tip I would give for squats for hypertrophy purposes is don't ego lift when doing squats. One thing I figured out quite late is I thought the heavier the weight, the more growth I'll have in my quads, which is completely false. What I've been doing, especially with the Smith machine, I don't load it up that much. My whole focus is time under tension, that proper stretch and that squeeze. So I go as deep, as low as possible, and then I squeeze at the very end. And usually when I do proper time under tension and lower weight, my legs get way more of a pump, and for like, I want to say 3 to 4 days after a session, my legs are still very sore. Once I started doing lighter weight and focusing on each rep properly, not ego lifting, not trying to add more weight just to add more weight. So yes, squats, everyone knows about it. The usual, you should be doing these. Let's move on. Moving on to exercise number 2, which are hack squats. And yeah, hack squats are another exercise that a lot of people skip because it is a difficult exercise, but I've been adding these pretty much every time I do legs, and they have given me the best pump and just soreness pretty much after each session. With hack squats, again, time under tension, going as deep as you can, and then squeezing at the very end is very important. There's another exercise there's actually an exercise you can't load up that much. It's not like a leg press. With leg presses, for example, which I haven't done in a very long time, you can easily add 200, 300, 400 kg and it's not really a big deal. It doesn't feel that difficult. But with hack squats, it's completely the opposite. It's like squats where you can't add that much kg. For example, with hack squats, I think I add around 60, 80 max. When you have proper time under tension, that's all you pretty much need, and your legs will get fired up. And another reason why I love the hack squats is you can go to complete failure. Because it's a machine, if you can't do that last rep, you can just stop the exercise. You can put the brakes, if you want to call it. So you can really go to failure on this exercise. This is another one of my favorite exercises. I would definitely recommend these if you want bigger legs. Moving on to exercise number 3, which is another one of everyone's favorite leg exercise, which are lunges. Now with the lunges, I personally don't do walking lunges, what I see a lot of people do, which is a great exercise again. Walking lunges, what you have, you have your dumbbells and you do your lunges. What I usually like to do with lunges, I do it on the Smith machine. So I just have a bench where I can put my other foot and I just do one leg lunges. And another name for lunges, or that one leg lunge, Bulgarian split squat. Don't really get the point of the name, it's just a lunge in the end of the day. But With lunges, once you properly learn how to set it up, you can either focus more on your quads or on your glutes. So whichever one you prefer, you can set up your leg positioning and the bench positioning for that intent, for whether it's quads or glutes. So for lunges, especially on the Smith machine, if you want to target your quads, your leg should be a bit more in front of you. And if you wanted to target the glutes, it should be pretty much right below your torso. So that would target more of your glutes. And another thing for lunges, especially walking lunges, I feel like it's a great exercise to enhance your balance and also your abs, because your abs is the main thing that keeps that balance. That's another reason why lunges are quite difficult. It's basically, it feels like a whole full workout, full body workout when you're doing them. Moving on to exercise 4, leg extensions. Now leg extension is a perfect isolation exercise, so your whole focus are quads. And with different positioning of your legs, you can target the different heads of your quads. So if you have your toes kind of pointing out, that's targeting more of your inner quads. If it's straight, pretty much all 3 heads of your quads. And then if you keep your legs a bit, or your toes inwards, that's targeting more of your outer quads. Now, does it make that much of a difference? Maybe a little bit, but it's worth giving it a try. Then again, most of the time when I do leg extension, I just keep it straight. I just keep my feet in a natural position and then I just do my leg extension like that. With the leg extension, it's a great exercise to get that mind-muscle connection. If your whole focus on your legs is to grow your quads, leg extensions are one of the best exercises. I feel like sometimes you could do a whole workout just doing leg extensions because it completely destroys your legs, especially if you go to complete failure. So just doing drop sets. Doing drop sets with leg extensions are easily one of the easiest exercises to do drop sets with. So you go to complete failure and you'll get the most benefit out of this exercise. And with any other muscle group, if you want to properly isolate a specific part of a muscle group, you should pick isolation exercises. Not for example, squats. That's a compound movement, so it pretty much targets the whole leg. If you have like a lacking muscle part, you should pick isolation exercises like the leg extension. For example, the leg extension is the isolation exercise for your quads. Pretty much every time I do leg extensions because my whole focus when I do legs are the quads. I don't really care too much about my glutes. That's not my focus. I'm not trying to get any big glutes. Quads, hamstrings, that's my main focus. So yes, pretty simple leg extensions, great exercise, great isolation exercise for your quads. Moving on to exercise number 5, which are leg curls. Now, this is another isolation exercise, but this time for your hamstrings. I made this mistake for a very long time. I wasn't targeting my hamstrings, which is very important. Like you should be targeting. My whole thing was, I'll do my squats, I'll do my leg extensions, and I completely skipped on specifically targeting my hamstrings. So if you want to target your hamstrings, you can do leg curls. And with the leg curl, you can either do seated leg curls or laying down leg curls. I usually do seated, but then again, when I think about it, laying down leg curls are way better because you can't really cheat the weight. With the seated leg curls, I feel like I tend to use my other parts of my body, so I'll like, properly tense up, trying to not really focus too much on exercise. I'm like trying to just move the weight. But with the laying down leg curl, you can't really kick the weight up in any way, so you kind of have to keep the time under tension, and laying down leg curls are just more difficult in my opinion, and it's just a better exercise for hamstrings, which I will definitely start adding more into my leg days instead of seated. Again, leg curls, it's a isolation exercise, so you can get that proper squeeze. And your hamstrings are an essential part of your legs, so you need to, if you want that balanced, well-developed legs. Leg curls are definitely the only exercise that you can get a proper stretch and squeeze on your hamstrings. I don't think any other exercise really does that. All the other exercises are like a compound exercise for your hamstrings. It's not really an isolation exercise. But yeah, leg curls, do them for your hamstrings. So yes, that was my top 5 leg exercises. And again, don't skip legs. If you want to have a well-developed physique, your legs are a part of it, so you have to have big legs also. Thank you for watching and see you next time.